It is match 7 of a best of 5, so you know it's going to be good. And by good, I mean not entirely serious. Because not only is StarCraft a game about fun, the After Hours Gaming League is a league all about fun. So that is what we were destined to have. And we have in our 3v3, this was all random. The Microsoft guys, they know how to have fun. You just play 3v3 with everyone picking random, no choice allowed. We have our Microsoft players. Imagination, primary race Protoss. Today he's Zerg, red Zerg. Also from Microsoft, Singha, primary race Protoss. Today he's Terran. Let's see if he can learn something other than A move. And then we have Starfic, primary race Zerg. Boy, did he luck out. And over here, we have Demosthenes and Asal, both off racing as blue Protosses. And apparently it's the cannon race, or the proxy gate race, that is Toss's specialty. Mob, the actual Protoss player, has been given Terran, so we're all off race on this side. And as you know, I at least do not 3v3 seriously. So we're ready for proxy shenanigans up the wazoo. Demosthenes, cancel that. Let's start the cannon rush a little farther back. No, never mind. Proxy barracks and of course proxy gate. I am amazed that Protoss always cannon rush. The proxy gate is awesome. Hell, even the non-proxy 2 gate. I've just built 2 gateways just in my main, built zealots, attacked, and they're going like, no, that's cheating. You can't do that. Oh, they scouted me. The one weakness of building your proxy in an obvious location, but was also hoping to block the fast expand, which is going to the actual natural. Better positioning. Maybe next time I take it seriously. Well, here we have the cannon rush in full spread, hitting the Zerg. Fun fact, Zerg, the worst to cannon rush. You cannot hit the hatchery. You are guaranteed not to be able to hit the hatchery with cannons if you try and cannon rush. Terran, you can hit anything that can't lift off, and if you force a lift off, that's still some decent damage. Protoss, the best race to cannon rush both as and against, they're screwed. Just totally screwed. And the drone pull tries to get the probe, backs off just in time. Demosthenes, that's one hit away from death. Will the Marine live for the bunker to finish? We've got cannon covering bunker, covering more cannon. And if this was not Zerg, we'd have won by now. Zealot, proxy Zealot, into Imagination's base. He does have the spawning pool, but he went hatch first. He has very few lings. Zealots versus drones. They're going to town. That's so many workers killed. This was actually cost effective, I think. What's he down to? Whoa. He's down to like 8 workers. Until Singha's Reaper comes in, because Reapers are a legitimate play. Apparently. Photon cannons, this is as good as it will get. He might get the spawning cool. He denies some mining. Of course, you just go over there. Problem, proxy gate player can't build cannons. Otherwise, Zealot versus Reaper. I think I've seen a minigame on that. And Imagination's back up with just more than his starting workers. And so we'll call that a win. We'll call this okay. Eventually we're going to win a little. Snarfik doesn't have the next spawning pool up though. So there will be this interim period of time where he's relying on his allies for defense. And that's always possible for that to just become victory. But highly unlikely. Not when they have a Reaper. Not when they have a Spine. Probably they'll be building other units. He may not have drones, but boy, it's Imagination pumping out those lings. Chrono, harder! No, okay, the proxy gates have been stopped cold. The cannons, not in a useful position anymore. Well, it's still denying some mining, alright. But yeah, that next cannon, will it live? Ooh, almost. Oh, there we go. All it needs to do is recharge 150 shield, and we've got more mining denied. So actually very heavy damage to the Microsoft Zerg players, very heavy damage to all the BlackBerry players' economy because they invested everything in cheese. And yeah, probably going to be Singha with his Terran play who comes back to save Team Microsoft from the brink of defeat here. Picking up an Overlord. Spine against the cannon. That's reaching for it. But there we go, Reapers. Good control of those Reapers by Singha. I don't think he's lost one yet. Been taking out Zealots and Probes and Marines. And now this bunker is going to have to be cancelled if he's fast enough. But Protoss players just, I don't think their cancel micro is quite as good. They're just not used to pausing construction, not used to lifting off their buildings and running back away. And back home, it's bunker time. People starting to expand, build up, and it's not like the economies are entirely wrecked, but it's not looking all that rosy. Ooh, lost a Reaper. Snarfik has back a base and a half that's still ahead of most of the BlackBerry players. And over here in Mazination, his drones are alive. It's maybe 12. And they're forcing the barracks to fly off. So it looks like that Microsoft has stabilized. They're not bleeding money against this early cheese anymore, but they still need to focus on the development of their future earners. And some nice Zergling harass here. That bunker not actually in the correct place. But there's just not enough stuff while Microsoft struggles to rebuild its economy. And here, the one thing I know about Protoss, these things are giant cannons in disguise. Only unit for defense is a Mothership Corps. And against a couple of Zerglings, that's probably enough. And here we go. The wall-in of the SimCity of someone who has obviously never played Protoss. Demosthenes, the SimCity of someone who has obviously played Terran and knows how to wall in his initial base because he needs the wall. And there's Reapers from Singha. Mob needs to work on his bunker placement. Good turret placement, though. And the workers pulled, the Marauders coming out. The Reapers are going to be repelled, not getting too much damage out there. Still keeping them alive. I mean, it is a few more expansions. One more expansion? No, actually, it's equal. The base count is now equal now with that mob who flew that over. So, yeah, that early aggression must have done more damage than I thought because BlackBerry, now has a fighting chance. But don't tell the press; they won't believe you. Still got these Reapers pressuring here. The Zergling going to town on the rocks. A 2 damage a hit and a hit every 0.7 seconds. We're expecting it to be 1,400 seconds until that goes down. So we'll come back to you. Reapers trying to get something done in here. And there's not even a single Zealot. Oh, there's a single Zealot for ASAL defense. Well, it's not going to do anything against 5 Reapers. But if at first you don't succeed, cheese harder. Oracle getting his ass handed to it. Looks like it did do a number on that, though. So we're keeping the worker kills up. That's all that matters. You may have heard of StarCraft's the game of economy. I interpret that as worker kills are the only thing that matters. Doesn't matter how many workers you have. Doesn't matter if you have an army. If you're getting the worker kills, you're ahead. And it looks like Snarfik is going to get this base back from mining. He could take out that cannon risk-free. Yes, he will. And that's back to somewhat basic parity. This gateway is still blocking the expansion. Actually has been useful. Quite a surprise. There we go. Now that's a walled-in cannon. I guess I'm just bitter for all those times that I played Protoss and I try and harass the Zerglings, but that's what off-racing does for you. You can get all that bitterness out of your system when you do some silly little wall like this, and then you realize that it actually does nothing against a determined opponent. Am I giving things away for later? Demosthenes getting some very tight walling off there. And more bunkers from Mob. Bunkers and Bio. actually settled into an economic phase, which is quite rare in 3v3s. Usually someone's doing something. I mean, where's the oracles? Oh, there's the oracle. There's something. Oracle versus Marines. That's actually enough Marines. Oracle with 7 kills, just making sure that he's heard. Looks like he sniped all of these SCVs building stuff. You just can't build stuff. It's not safe. Oh! And the Marines went the long way. Getting up more SCV kills. What's that now? 12? Alright, that oracle's paid for itself. Marines stimming. I'm going to count that as extra damage the oracle did. Makes him feel really superior. There goes the gateway. Finally, we can see Imagination take a third. He first needs to rebuild his drone count, but he's working on it. He's working on it. After all the new Heart of the Swarm maps, I came here and went, whoa! An island? That there are still islands these days? I can't remember the last time I saw one. And of course, Terran's going to just fly over there and take it. Because they can. Wow, he likes his orbitals. So we've got the third bases going down for Team Microsoft. They're still going to, oh yes, their team motto is macro hard, Microsoft. And you can see that they are macroing hard right now. Up to 3 bases. We're still only on 2 apiece, ready to do a bit more of the micro. Ooh, and that was an ill-timed engagement from Snarfik. He does have some support from his team there, but I think that the Blackberry force is actually bigger here. Still not much from Singha except for Reapers. He must be keeping his entire army at home. Just worried about his defense. Nice force fields. That's not cutting him in half, but it is getting some range, and there we go. Taking advantage of that range, pushing in on that small Zerg force. Pushing them back. Might be able to secure a third. Might not. Blackberry is all about built to keep you moving, so our team motto was build to keep you microing. Or at least moving out about the map. We just don't macro as hard as Microsoft. Still no thirds going down except ASL. Is there even a spare orbital from Mob? No. Planetary right in the middle of all the Allies' bases. And now we've got double Sky Toss coming out of Team Blackberry. Just pure Sky Toss. All the air units and those Mutalisks are going to have a tough time. Real tough time. It's funny, the Protoss going for Mutalisks because they're such a pain for Protoss to deal with. And the Zerg players going for Sky Toss because that keeps happening from all the Protoss players to shut down Mutalisk. It's the only thing we've seen. ASAL noticed Swarm Host. I have to wonder where. There they are. Snarfik bringing out the Swarm Host. Scouting Phoenix. And there's Phoenix versus Mutalisk. One thing that you may remember, that actually have to be microed or they just die. Example A. Not actually the strong effectiveness that one might claim. Yeah, someone's not used to moving their Phoenixes. Ah, well, there's enough air here. I think we've got it. And there we go. Muta's right on top of the Phoenixes, just the way they like it. Still dealing a lot of damage. Upgrades. Looks like the upgrades are slightly in the favor of the tossers here. And here we go. It's the air. It's the Sky Toss. Just pushed right across the chasm. It's actually very close by air expand. And we're just going to try and snipe the hatch and move out because that's Pult made that popular. So popular. That's a terrible place for Phoenix. And it's really not going down fast enough. That's better. Reminds me of Wings of Liberty days. Void Rays charging up, taking down buildings. In the meantime, not really too much happening on the sides, just Swarm Hosts way too far back to get anything done. They can't traverse that entire path in one lifetime. I mean, just imagine, from the Locust perspective, just that path, it's huge. You cannot walk that far in a lifetime. Well, their masters tell them to anyways. Finally, Singha comes out of his shell. Turtle Terran bringing his massive bio force, and that is way too much for the Protoss to handle. Gonna have to pull back. We could see a double mass recall. No. No, get out of there and let your allies die. Actually, no. Demosthenes is doing a good job heading up the flanks. Might be able to pick up something. Might be able to. We won't hold our breath for it to stop lagging. And there we go. Hydras and Marines against double Sky Toss. Zealot Harass is not doing anything. Reaper's still trying to. And there we go. Void Rays versus Queen's Marines. Actually sounds like a nice combination to say. Just not what you want to face. Oh, the Swarm Host being a little farther. That's good. Missed the battle there. We'll watch the Void Rays die. Forward rally point not so great. Anything else happening? Exciting. Okay. Here we go. It's the gateway pressure. One gate pressure while all your other resources are tied up in Stargate units. Still have an Oracle. Just sitting there. It was waiting for to scout that base, and it looks like it's going to keep waiting until end of life. Which is going to come a lot later than it is for Locust. Yeah, not so much happening on the other flank. Just letting AHGL and Imagination macro out. While Mob and Demosthenes try and hold Snarfik and Singha push. Really need to learn those Locust distances. Ah, here they go. They're coming forward. Locust Hydra. Interesting build. Or composition. I'm not really sure how viable it is. The mobility of the Hydras and the Swarm Host is going to be a real challenge, but if you can pull it off, that the Locust Wave tanks, the Hydra adds extra DPS, adds air power, as long as they don't have any splash damage, which they don't. Oh, except that guy. These Widow Mines must be heroes by now. I've got an attack up here. Imagination, it's going to be Hydralisks versus Void Rays. As any Zerg player can tell you, Void Rays win that every time. The Protoss players have a different story. They have this solidarity thing. Let's see, Void Rays versus Hydras. Void Rays have the upgrade advantage. Hydras have every other advantage in this matchup. I know. We are seeing the Phoenix support might cause something to happen. Battle down the other side. Ooh, there we go. Hydras versus Void Rays. Do you even lift? You do lift. Nice. And there we have it. Sky Toss just causing every Zerg to be really upset again. Other side of the battle, Singha has just more bio. Coming down, pushing this back. Pushing Mob and Demosthenes back into their base. As long as the bio doesn't run straight into the Widow Mines. No? No, they're cool with it. He's going back to defend. They do want to focus on that macro. Extra base there, even. And a few too many Hydras, saving that hatchery. 134, so close. So close. Getting a Microsoft player down to 2 bases. That would have been a big boost to morale. Looks like it's not happening. We've got the Marine Void Ray army against Hydra Locust. And now we're still seeing no splash damage out of Blackberry. And the thing that helps defeat Locust Wave is splash damage. The thing that defeats Hydra is splash damage. The thing that defeats Bio is splash damage. There's kind of a theme here. A theme that 2 tanks will not be able to complete on their own in a 3v3. But we have some nice aerial superiority here, or oracles being used for their intended purpose, which is detection. Detection for people too cheap to buy a robotics facility. That's right. No robo for AHGL yet. That would be too easy. And there we go. Oracles versus Hydralisks. You don't need me to tell you how that one went. Just massive anti-air from Microsoft. No splash from Team Blackberry except these tanks. They have to do it now. Come on, tanks. They're just move commanding. You have your chance. And no. No, not quite. We need AoE, please. We please. AoE, please. So yeah, just actual choice of unit composition. Have to give it to Microsoft right now. We have the only thing you can make when you're going Sky Toss. Mass Zealot. Might actually work here. There's no AoE out of Microsoft either, just all the big damage dealers. Zealots tanking like pros because that's what they do. Void Rays versus Marines will finally go in favor of the Void Rays for once. Every Protoss player wants to see this work, but I don't think the game rules allow it to. More Zealots. Plenty of big blue beams. I don't know. I mean, I played this game. I can't even remember. But it's going to be close, and it's still going to be close. Ah, Singha gives up. He retreats. Void Ray versus Marines. You saw it here first. And heavily imbalanced. It was a 3v3. Let's not get too cocky. More Hydralisk Zergling coming out of Imagination here. Still hasn't taken his fourth. Singha, he just loves having flying bases for a change. He has floated bases over there. No medevacs picking anything up. Those SCVs will stay there for the rest of the game. Here we go. Carriers. Not quite AoE, but it'll do. And now it's going to be Void Rays versus Mass Hydra. Got the beams, that extra damage versus armored. Just for shock value. It's all a shock and awe play, and there we go. It's the mothership. You don't see that anymore. It's actually a poor choice, if you ask me, to ever buy the mothership, because you lose your giant cannon spell. The giant cannon spell defines modern Protoss. Would you give that up just for some late game cloaking? I don't think so. Late game cloaking, they'll actually build detectors, and suddenly your DT comeback, not so viable. But I do like Snarfik pushing the creep, continuing to just apply light pressure with the locusts. At the very least, it keeps the air army here. He can see the army. He doesn't have to spend real units to get that information. And there we go. If you thought my computer was lagging before, just you wait. Big Mama is here. Got some big armies massing on the other side, though. Now that all three Blackberry players are trying to desperately hold this flank, I foresee ASAL losing all of his bases. Out of oracles for detection, you're not allowed to build observers when you go Sky Toss. Little known rule. And there's the cloaking. It worked for once. Hydras all focused on the Void Rays until that scan comes down. Sorry, all focused on the mothership. Now the mothership can come back in and recharge shields, but I just don't see those things living. Mothership doesn't actually deal enough damage, but it is trying to purify the area. And Void Rays, come on, Wind Rays! Not happening. Microsoft, they've got the unit composition. Marine, Viking is normally what you see against Protoss. Not normally because of carriers, but it works. It is working. There we go. All three Blackberry players just had their armies crushed. Imagination is checking for shadows. Still no AoE. ASAL, armchair general galore, able to point out the problems, but not capable of building AoE himself. Still on the starport only challenge, and you know, Tempest, they do a massive damage, but it's only to one unit. Carriers, you know, again, they target single units at a time. It's just not effective. Makes me want the Valkyries back. That at least with some splash damage, even if it was only air. Or Radiate. Just had so many options. Next time, one Sky Toss per team. Strategic diversification. Templar would have been great, if only because his ASAL's clear predilection for 3v3 cheese means that Dark Templar everywhere would have happened. Now, technically, Archon's High Templar counter this competition, but no, it would have been Dark Templar. The Kala is overrated. And here we go. Singha and Snarfik advancing. They've been winning this battle for some time. They're pushing in to take out the main base of Mob. The coordinated attack from the other side. Imagination pushing against ASAL, and I think that's going to be it for Team Blackberry. Another loss to Microsoft. Well, They are bigger. Mom was not a Terran player. Obviously, that's our excuse. Microsoft had one player who wasn't off racing due to the random. That is entirely the point. Don't listen to him. He's having fun. His base is not having fun. But back here, it's still Skytox. It's carriers. It's carriers all day. Carrier Void Ray. Come on. Oh, he's target firing the carrier. Might not be the best choice here since he's taking damage. Well, probably. Back at the base, we've got the Locusts pushing on out. They've cleared the main base of Mob, but he's done the floating to the island trick. How long will it last? Zealot's warping in Imagination. Still no upgrades, but he just doesn't need it. So many Hydras, and Hydras just stack so beautifully. If you're going to build only one unit, make it Hydras. Make it Void Rays. But if you're playing Zerg, it's really hard to build mass Void Ray. It takes so long to get up both tech trees. And there we go. The carriers almost destroyed before they spawn. Singha and Snarfik now pushing down towards the Demosthenes bases. Fortunately, this one's fine. It's mining out. Island's fine. Still plenty of fun left to be had, even if I think half of Team Backberry has called GG already. Yep, Void Rays are underpowered. If you build nothing but Void Rays and then lose to the units that counter them. Anyway. Yep, Void Rays need a buff. You'll see it next time. Next balance patch, totally going to be Void Rays getting extra damage versus biological. That way it won't ruin the PvP balance. But oh boy, everything else. And there we have it. Demosthenes, his main's getting shredded. Asal, it's like that Protoss mission Last Stand. Everything's dying. Imagination probably could have pushed into the main. He's taking his time. He's having fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. Singha just overstimming. Actually, no, not overstimming. Stimming for quite well, actually. Plenty of medevacs. I'm not worried. He could drop this base with the fusion core, but why? Some very cute walls we've got there. And here's just more units pouring in. They were true to their macro hard name. And here we go. Snarfik knows the counter to cannons is Locusts. And there we go. Locusts tearing this base apart. Mob wants to chrono out his battle cruiser. Every Protoss has that last ditch. If I just chrono out my carrier, maybe it'll get there in time. Wow, Lucas is so good against photon cannons. Sarbo gives every race chrono, effectively. Kind of weird, but it's exactly what Mob wanting. When the Marines can push the planetary fortress, someone's got too many troops. But yeah, I think that's about it. Locust still pushing these last few cannons. And yeah, they can afford to do it. I mean, the whole point of Locust, in my opinion, is just to stop those Protoss from digging in with cannons early game. And this may not be early game, but it still works. Into the breach. They saw the last main base in the continental area. Got a good lull GG here, and there's the carriers depleted of interceptors. The Hydras do so much anti-air. And the last hope, we're going to build that tech lab. We're going to chrono out that battle. Oh, he had on there. Nice. Proxy battle cruiser at the 30-minute mark, and there we go. It's all down to Mob. If you can just chrono out more BCs, which would require tweaking the game rules. There isn't actually one more after this. I'm going to have to cut it short because these are, after all, only bonus games. Ooh, abducting the battle cruiser. There we go. Our hopes, our dreams, our ninja base. But no. That's GG. Microsoft wraps up the series 5-2, which is not actually a valid score. But But boy, did we have fun. I can only hope we have as much fun next week when Team Blackberry faces the Googleisk.